a teenage girl's pro Sophie Cunningham sign reportedly led to the Seattle Storm owner shouting at her. The fan was left in tears after being told to put it away. That's the story that has been circulating across basketball Twitter for the past 2 days. And it isn't just an exaggerated online rumor either. The reality of what actually happened courtside in Seattle is even worse than the headline suggests. And compared to the outcome of a single game, it reveals far more about the state of this league right now. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Surprisingly, more than 90% of our viewers still haven't subscribed. Subscribing is completely free, takes only a second, and helps us create more videos like this. So, have you subscribed yet? If you have, thank you. We truly appreciate your support. Now, let's get back to the video.
And then she told us that we were effing insane.
And she's like, and she went like this.
Insane.
Yeah. She's like, you better stop this.
And stop pulling
shit.
this. Yeah.
And
for you guys
I
to
hope
come
God
here
can
and
save
pull
you.
this. Yeah.
She said for you to come here and pull this shit.
Yeah.
She said the word.
Yeah.
Did she say effing insane or the fucking
No,
insane?
she said the word.
And nobody around you spoke up for you.
No.
So,
No.
I will say, Annalie, when I came over, you were in tears.
Yeah, I've never been yelled at like that. I mean, I've had people hate on me on the internet, but like it doesn't really affect me as much because it's just people online. But that just took me by surprise because I thought she was gonna be nice, and then she starts like screaming at us.
At a WNBA game, a teenage girl brought a sign. It didn't attack anyone. Not a single player was named on it. It simply thanked Sophie Cunningham for standing up for female athletes. Our essential unders the fan sitting there. A Seattle Storm co-owner approached her during the game and told her to put it away in front of a completely sold-out crowd. By the end of the incident, security had been called, and the girl was left crying. Take a moment to think about that. At a basketball game, a grown adult who owns part of a professional sports team confronted a child because she was holding the sign.
In that story with ESPN, you talked about wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Just can you expand your viewpoint on that?
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children. And that's, little girls, who are also involved in that category. And so, I stand on what I said, and, I always believe that.
Yeah. Do you see your advocacy on that, like taking any form going forward? You know, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And, I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so, when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why, you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so, I think in the future, it's just really, important to protect.
Do you think, I guess, along the line like that, it goes against perhaps some people might say, hey, for the trans community, this could be something that could come back on us or be targeted against us. Like, how do you, I guess, view that sort of critique?
You know, like I said, I extend love, and I don't dislike anyone. Like, I think there is room for absolutely everyone here, and I think there's room to love everyone.
A few weeks earlier, Sophie Cunningham was asked directly about protecting women's sports during an ESPN program. She didn't try to soften her response or avoid the question. She stated clearly that she wants to keep young girls safe in locker rooms, that they shouldn't have to compete against biological males, and that she will always stand by that belief, regardless of the reaction.
How the left is completely intolerant and the actual hateful ones. This woman is not an owner of a basketball team. She's an owner of a left-wing, radical, political activist group that happens to play basketball. Because this team has endorsed Kamala Harris for president. They have promoted trans rights on their website and their merchandise. And clearly they hold a double standard and allow people to hold signs like this, but belittle young girls that support their sports remaining female. I don't expect them to do this, but I would really like to see the WNBA protect and stand up for fans just like these two young girls from hate and intolerance.
No one in particular, neither a rival nor a teammate, was attacked. It was simply a direct answer to a straightforward question, delivered in a calm manner, as you would expect from someone who had carefully considered it rather than spoken spontaneously. However, in this league, context rarely stays neutral for long, so whether Sophie said it outright or not That response became associated with a particular name.
You know, I think it has been so fun. I played with BG for 6 years, and so I know her like the back of my hand. And as of late, she's been playing really good. She's been playing like OG Brittney. I'm there to love, but I'm also there to love biological women. And I think that there are rights that need to be protected. And like I said, I'm going to stand true to that. I'll never falter in my beliefs in that. But I have never once said I hated the trans community. Like I said, I think
if you watched any of the Fever's games against the Connecticut Sun this season, you already know who many fans connected those remarks to. Over the past 3 seasons, Brittney Griner and Caitlin Clark have shared a tense on-court rivalry. There were uncalled body checks, a bench incident from the previous season that fans are still analyzing frame by frame, and an officiating style that many believed consistently changed whenever the two faced each other. So, when Cunningham, Clark's closest teammate and the team's most outspoken defender, stood up and said, "Men shouldn't be playing in women's sports," the fan base didn't need anyone to explain the connection. For the most part, the timing spoke for itself.
Some fans at the game booed Cunningham when she checked into the game. One Seattle Storm player even showed up pre-game wearing a shirt that read, "Trans rights are human rights." After the game, Storm coach Sonia Rahman was asked about the situation.
Seattle and this organization and Climate Pledge, like, we always want to be an area where people feel welcome coming into this building. I think we've always done a really good job with that. So I know our organization was, working closely with Climate Pledge and with security to just make sure that, everybody feels safe and included and welcome when they walk in this door. And from what I understand, that
some fans at the game booed Cunningham when she checked in. One Seattle Storm player even arrived before the game, wearing a shirt that read, "Trans rights are human rights." After the game, Storm coach Sonia Rahman was asked about the situation. Seattle, this organization, and Climate Pledge always want to be a place where people feel welcome coming into this building. I think we've always done a really good job with that. I know our organization was working closely with Climate Pledge and with security to make sure everybody feels safe, included, and welcome when they walk into the arena. From what I understand, that was the goal. The idea that Cunningham's remarks were directed exclusively at her has never been addressed by Brianna. Although she said she would never choose a different teammate over the one standing beside her, she also stated in another interview, just a few days before the situation gained attention, that playing against Cunningham is incredibly frustrating. Make of that what you will. However, the response to Cunningham's remarks online was minimal at first, and it didn't stay quiet for long. You have Sophie Cunningham, a highly accomplished female athlete, speaking what she believes is the truth, that men shouldn't play in women's sports. We want to protect women and girls, and the backlash she is receiving from Democrats and left-wing figures across the country is astonishing. The idea that Cunningham's remarks were directed exclusively at her has never been addressed by Brianna. Although she said she would never choose a different teammate over the one beside her, she also mentioned in another interview, just days before this entire situation escalated, that playing against Cunningham is incredibly frustrating. Make of that what you will. However, the reaction to Cunningham's remarks online was minimal at first, and it didn't remain quiet for very long.
You have Sophie Cunningham, a female athlete herself, very accomplished in her own right, coming forth and speaking that truth that men shouldn't play in women's sports. We want to protect women and girls, and the backlash she is receiving from Democrats and left-wing figures across the country is
It spread everywhere within roughly 48 hours. The story was picked up by USA Today. The following morning, ESPN featured parts of it across several shows. Fox News even gave it its own national segment. Whether the league wanted to hear it or not, the White House press secretary publicly stated that Cunningham was on what they described as the right side of an issue that they said most Americans already agree on. That is a remarkable reaction to a WNBA role player giving a candid answer to a single question during a feature interview. It became a national conversation that reached far beyond the world of basketball. Furthermore, Sophie never asked for any of it to unfold the way it did.
I can't applaud her enough. This notion that you're hating on the trans community because you are not a proponent of them participating in female sports is utterly ridiculous. Sophie Cunningham said every word right on the money. There's no hate involved. There's only love we're talking about. But what happened to loving girls who are born biologically as girls? What about their rights? What about fairness associated to them? Leah Thomas, I'm going to keep bringing that name up. 400th plus in the world competing as a male. Transitions to female, and he was number 1. If we're going to act like transitioning from male to female doesn't involve an advantage for that trans athlete, I have nothing to say to you. You're not exercising confidence.
People should focus more on what she did next, because it's what separates her from almost every other athlete who has ever been in this situation. Days later, reporters came back to her, clearly hoping she would soften her remarks, clarify them, or walk them back. She did none of those things. She repeated her position almost word for word, adding that she doesn't hate anyone and truly believes there is room for everyone. But she won't change her genuine beliefs simply because a group of people asked her to. That isn't how someone seeks controversy for attention. It's how a person responds after being asked a fair question, answering honestly and, when the pressure finally arrives, refusing to act as though they never meant it.
Last week and talks about her beliefs, which I do think is very rare, especially being as young as she is, and quite honestly being brave to share something she knows is going to get picked apart a million times, and then standing by it. That's refreshing, especially from a young woman.
And that brings us to Seattle, where the entire situation shifted from an online debate to something involving a real child at a real game in front of real people who witnessed it unfold in real time. On paper, the Fever's game against the Storm on Tuesday night should have been all dub basketball. A modest crowd gathered outside Climate Pledge Arena before tip-off. Some came to show their support for Cunningham, while others were there to support a Washington ballot measure that has been gaining attention across the state regarding fairness in girls' athletics. Some wore clothing displaying the XX and XY symbols, while others carried signs. It wasn't aimed at any particular Storm player. It was about more than the remarks of a single WNBA player. It was about Cunningham, the broader conversation she had entered weeks earlier, and a policy debate that had been developing for quite some time.
She's covering your sign.
Two of those supporters entered the arena and sat courtside with a banner, thanking Cunningham for standing up for girls. Brandy Cruz of Undivided Pod, who spoke with them afterward, said they claimed that a woman approached them during the game and called them completely insane. They were then removed from their seats by security. The woman was later identified by those in attendance as Celeste Caton, the Storm's minority owner. One of the supporters said the speed at which a night at a basketball game turned into a confrontational and deeply personal encounter left her in tears before the incident had even ended.
That said, we love Sophie, thank you, Sophie, for speaking up. And so we were holding on, just watching the game. Again, we were being super great. We hadn't said anything to anyone else. We were being super respectful. We were just holding our signs and cheering for both teams. And this older lady comes up to us, and she comes up to us, and at first I think she's going to be nice, and then she asks, what are you guys doing? Something like that. And then it was Jesus loves everyone. That's what she told us. And I was like, oh, I know. I'm religious. I know. I know. Nice. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I hope Jesus can forgive you for what sin you've done. And something like that. And then she told us that we were effing insane.
And she's and she went insane.
Yeah.
She's like, you better stop this.
And stop pulling this. Yeah.
Now consider the imbalance at the center of everything. Outside the arena, people representing different viewpoints on this issue gathered peacefully. No one from either side crossed over to confront the other or tell them what they could or couldn't do. In that respect, the quote is entirely accurate. No one is arguing that anyone shouldn't be allowed to enter their own arena wearing whatever they choose. However, a co-owner of the home team confronted a teenage fan who was quietly holding a thank you sign for a player on the visiting team, telling the fan to put it away in front of thousands of spectators.
Hey! And he's going to talk to you a little bit, all the way up from California.
Yeah.
We are Women Are Real. I had this crazy idea on Thursday that I wanted to support Sophie. We've gone all around California supporting female athletes, and I just said, we can go to Seattle and we can support female athletes. And Brandy was right there ready to help us. And thank you all for showing up. We just have simple belief that women are adult human females, and women deserve their own female-only sports and spaces, especially prisons and domestic violence shelters.
Yes.
We are 108.
People should focus more on what she did next, because it's what separates her from almost every other athlete who has ever been in this situation. Days later, reporters came back to her, clearly hoping she would soften her remarks, clarify them, or walk them back. She did none of those things. She repeated her position almost word for word, adding that she doesn't hate anyone and truly believes there is room for everyone. But she won't change her genuine beliefs simply because a group of people asked her to. That isn't how someone seeks controversy for attention. It's how a person responds after being asked a fair question, answering honestly and, when the pressure finally arrives, refusing to act as though they never meant it.
I apologize for the way I look. I literally just left CrossFit, don't have any recording material here, but breaking news, Storm co-owner Celeste Caton was fined and suspended from attending the next 5 home games of the Seattle Storm
following the incident with Fever fans last night, in which she made a comment about one of their players' supporters. That came directly from the league. So that's the latest on this developing story.
And when you strip away all the surrounding noise, that's really the heart of the entire story. None of this was brought on by Sophie Cunningham. She gave an honest answer to a question, defended it twice when pressure followed, and then watched a teenage supporter be treated like a threat simply for publicly agreeing with her. At a basketball game, a team owner shouldn't yell at anyone over a shirt or a sign. Full stop. No matter which side of the debate someone supports, the fact that only Cunningham supporters were affected tells you nearly everything you need to know about how uneven tolerance can be in certain parts of this league. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to leave a comment below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and turn on all notifications so you never miss our latest updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Click the video on your screen to keep watching.
Cunningham, who's willing to stand 10 toes down. And Sophie Cunningham was quoted as saying, I want to protect young girls in a locker room or young girls in sports who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Megan Rapinoe's such a fucking bird. Like, she's such a fucking bird. Biological men should not be playing in sports with biological men, period. End of discussion. It shouldn't be controversial. It shouldn't be a cause for debate. It shouldn't be labeled transphobia because you don't want to have to compete with people who were born biological men and have biological advantages that women will never have and never be able to have for the rest of their life. I always ask the question, why do we never see like biological women transitioning to be men and playing in men's sports? Why? Why don't we ever see that? Why is it always biological men transitioning to women and coming over to play with women?